Imagine a place where the sun has never risen. No mornings, no nights, no seasons, no sense of time as we know it. Far below the surface of the ocean, deeper than any human city has ever been built, there exists a world where time feels frozen. A world where life moves so slowly that a single moment for us could be a lifetime for them. This is the deep sea, and the creatures that live here exist in a reality completely different from ours. But why? Why do deep sea creatures live in what feels like a world without time? Why do they move slowly, age slowly, and sometimes seem almost ancient? To understand this, we first need to understand where they live. The deep ocean begins where sunlight dies. At around 1,000 meters below the surface, light disappears completely. No photosynthesis, no warmth from the sun, only darkness, cold temperatures, and crushing pressure. In this environment, energy is extremely rare. And when energy is rare, time changes. For humans, life is fast. We burn energy constantly. Our hearts beat quickly. Our bodies demand food, warmth, movement. But in the deep sea, wasting energy means death. So deep sea creatures evolved a different strategy: slow life. Their metabolisms are incredibly slow. Their movements are minimal. Some barely move at all. They don't chase, they wait, because waiting costs less energy than hunting. In this world, speed is not an advantage, patience is. Many deep-sea fish can survive on a single meal for weeks, sometimes months. Some species grow so slowly that scientists believe they can live for over 100 years. Think about that. While human civilizations rise and fall, some deep-sea creatures are still quietly drifting in the darkness, unchanged. This is why time feels different down there, because biological time is controlled by metabolism. The slower the metabolism, the slower the clock. And in the deep sea, the clock barely moves. There is another reason time feels frozen. Nothing changes. On the surface, life is defined by change. Day turns into night, summer into winter, storms reshape the environment. But in the deep ocean, it's always dark, always cold, always silent. The environment has remained almost identical for millions of years. And when the environment doesn't change, evolution slows down. That's why many deep-sea creatures look ancient, because they are. Some species living today are almost identical to fossils found hundreds of millions of years ago. They survived mass extinctions that wiped out dinosaurs. They watched the world change without ever seeing it. In a way, the deep sea is Earth's memory, a place where life never had to adapt to modern time. But there's something even more disturbing. Some deep sea creatures don't just live slowly, they barely live at all. Take certain jellyfish and deep sea invertebrates. Their bodies are so simple, so energy efficient that aging almost doesn't affect them. They don't rush towards reproduction. They don't fight for dominance. They simply exist, in silence, in darkness, in stillness. This forces us to ask a strange question. What if time isn't universal? What if time is something we feel, not something that truly exists? For humans, time feels fast because our lives are short and intense. For deep sea creatures, life is long, quiet, and slow. Same planet, same physics, completely different reality. And then there is pressure. The deeper you go, the heavier the ocean becomes. At extreme depths, the pressure is strong enough to crush a human instantly. Under this pressure, movement becomes expensive. Every action costs energy. So deep-sea creatures evolved a different strategy: slow life. Their muscles became weaker, bones disappeared, bodies turned soft and flexible. In this environment, speed would be suicide. Stillness is survival. which is why deep sea creatures appear almost lifeless to us, floating, drifting, waiting, not because they are weak, but because they are perfectly adapted to a timeless world. Scientists believe that some deep sea species experience time so slowly that they may only reproduce a few times in their entire lives. Imagine that. No rush, no urgency, no deadlines, just existence. And this is where the deep sea becomes unsettling, because it shows us something uncomfortable. Time, the thing that controls our lives, might just be a surface illusion, a product of sunlight, seasons, and speed. Remove those things and time fades. Down there, life doesn't chase the future. It doesn't remember the past. It simply continues, quietly, patiently, endlessly. So the next time you feel like life is moving too fast, remember this. Beneath the ocean, there are creatures living in a world without time. Not because they chose to, but because nature designed them that way. And maybe the most terrifying part isn't how strange they look. It's how calmly they exist while the rest of the world races towards the future.